wish you all happy Jagannath. I continue the topic which we discussed last time. I'll just share the screen. So we are discussing on the shloka Dhyayam Sada Paribhavitagni Abhishtado Tirthaspadam Shivar Virinchinutam Sharanyam Pratyartam Prantipala Bhavabdipotam Bande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam. I'll just we have to actually complete proper purports. We have 13 shlokas left in this chapter. So if I take, you should, I'll give some homeworks for you so that you'll be able to do. So this is a very important verse which proves that this shloka is none other than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is what we were discussing. So we had discussion previously. I'll just summarize what we discussed. Dhyayam Sada. Dhyayam Sada means this Lord who is helping us to meditate on him. So this is the speciality of Lord. So there is this incarnation who is coming in Kali Yuga and who is teaching us how to meditate on him. There is no other incarnation who teaches. Every incarnation comes, perform their leelas and goes. They may tell that you meditate, but they don't teach. So this Lord is teaching. So that is the first character. Now he's teaching us to think of Supreme Lord, make us think of him. And we discussed how in Satyuga people were completely pure, that's why they were able to meditate. And Treta Yuga they were meditating on fire sacrifice. And Dwapar Yuga they were able to meditate on deity because they were able to see that Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Vrajendranandan. They were able to see that this is directly Supreme Lord, non-different. So, but in Kali Yuga, there are two things we discuss. We meditate on our own body. Most of the thing on ourselves, our sense gratification. And as long as we are meditating on our sense gratification, we remain unhappy. And second thing, we saw that there is meditating on matter. Matter is dead, that is ignorance. Because we are meditating on ignorance, consciousness is full of ignorance. That is also cause of unhappiness. So these are the two things we discussed. Dhyayam Sada. So meditating. So this is the purpose of all the scriptures also we discussed, that Smattabhya Satatam Vishnu and Satyam Param Dhimahi. Manmana Bhavaman, Manmana. So all this essence of scriptures, if you want to tell in 2-3 words, it is meditating. Meditating on Supreme Lord. So this Lord will now teach you how to meditate on Lord always. So this is that form of Lord. Dhyayam Sada. And giving this, and whereas to go to temple and all we don't have time, so Lord is coming, okay, 24/7 you can chant and you can remember. And then we say Paribhavita. So Bhava means our mood, our existence. Paribhava means against our existence, something which is opposite to our existence. And Paribhavata Agni, so that is destroyed. Something which is against our existence is destroyed. So what is against our existence? First thing we saw, we have 4-5 understandings. First meaning is that there is a tendency to insult others. Insult means in one way it is like killing only. You're trying to kill his reputation, incur pain to him. He's telling, oh, you are not the soul, you are not pure. So this is what is the first meaning. And Lord Chaitanya is coming and he's encouraging people. He says, no, chant. And you'll be able to free from this mentality. Then we discuss how the social network and all these things are only meant to, people want to glorify themselves. So many people use that platform for insulting others. And he's telling, don't insult, because people don't have any other flavor. That's why they work on insulting. Then we saw the pastime of Jaga and Madai. Their whole life was offenses only. But Lord Chaitanya, as soon as he came, he delivered them. That means that type of people whose life is full of offenses, they could come out of it. So that means we also, in Kali Yuga, Paribhavita, our life is full of offenses, we can come out of it, the insulting mentality and everything. That is the first thing. And then we saw that also, that before people have this offensive language and all, everything will be cleared. Slowly we come out of it, we understand. then we start getting the higher taste. If there is no taste for holiness, then the taste is like this. Now we will come to we'll further discuss on it. Abhishta Doham also we discussed. Abhishta Doham means to give, and Abhishta means the innermost desire. The innermost desire of all living entities is love. So this Lord who is coming to fulfill the innermost desire of the living entities. That is what is Abhishta Doham. And now we discuss how Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was telling. So this Lord, uh, what is another important Karabhajan message? This avatar of age of Kali, what happens to people if you meditate on his lotus feet? So Vamde Mahapurushati Charana. If you meditate on that, this form of the lotus feet of this form of Lord, these people acquire amazing advantage that distinguishes them from all other people of this world. So devotees are different. Why? Dheyam Sada, because these people acquire the ability to constantly think of Lord. If you meditate on lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we'll get an ability to think on Krishna easily. That is what. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was telling logically that the objects of this material world are meant for enjoyment. They are not meant for meditation. Objects of meant to. There are some things for made to enjoy, something are made to meditate. Meditation should be done on Lord. Enjoyment will be objects. And people constantly they discuss chat or anything, talk is all sense gratification. They're meditating on sense gratification. No, you meditate on Krishna and do sense gratification. Like so there then when people start thinking of Lord Chaitanya, then naturally at some point love for Krishna opens in his heart and all thoughts automatically rush to Krishna. So this is the point. So his thoughts, all plan, all ambitions become centered around Krishna. So the hero of Raja. Now Paribhavitam is something against our being. So I'll try to explain. There are 2-3 other important aspects of Paribhavana. This is very important, which destroys the. There is a destructive tendency also we discussed. Destructive tendency in people is so Lord Chaitanya is coming to help us to give up this destructive tendency, because we discussed that how their advertisement when they put the skulls and all on the cigarette packet, the sales increases because people why they go for destructive tendencies, because we discussed because they feel the meaninglessness of their existence. They don't know why they exist. Now, but what happens is when person suddenly gets a meaning in life, then he has some meaning, some purpose to live, something special he has found. What he has found? He has found love. This is what is. So here Upanishad verse also we will try to complete today, that 3.1.1 of Mundak Upanishad. Now Lord Chaitanya came to give us the same love which is in the heart of Srimati Radharani, and he want us also to experience. So when we just, it is not when somebody get this, when immediately he feels some purpose for his life, then then he will say, though I have something to spend this life on, we can live an amazing life. So then all destructive tendencies goes away. The destructive tendency causes what? There is no meaninglessness of life. But purpose is there. Oh, I need to acquire love. Then immediately, like many people, they say, okay, ultimately it is liberation. So one of my friend, he was telling his son, was telling to his son, see, ultimately, no, it is all you have to become. You have to give up this material world and become one Brahman, impersonal light or something. Then his son said, oh, it's boring. I don't want it. Then that means what? That is not a purpose. And in this life also, they don't find any purpose. They see everything is going down. Now, when person is trying to save his life, he understand how valuable every moment of our life is. Then when we hear that we are becoming every rising and setting of sun, Vayurahardi Vaipumsam, we are coming closer to death, still then we feel, oh, now I have an opportunity to surrender to Krishna every day. And a person looks at he appreciates every moment of his life in that way. And It's an amazing gift from Lord. Oh, I have opportunity to today to hear about Bhagavatam, hear about Lord Chaitanya, hear hear something which is elevating my consciousness in that way. So his life become full of he feels so much gratitude every moment, and his heart flows with gratitude. This is called Paribhavitagni, is destroying what is negative for us. Now, when Lord Chaitanya gives us this goal, the highest goal which is possible, what happens? All the destructive tendencies in the heart, gratitude will come. Now there is one more understanding of this parivartana. Now is that we are living in an age of Kali, which is permeated with offenses, the desire to offend others also. Now it is very difficult and painful sometimes when we face insults. It is not that but we offend, but we also face. Now how Lord Chaitanya is coming us to help out of this also. Somebody is insulting, what is the solution for us? If somebody is insulting fairly or unfairly, whatever, but it is malice is there. Now what is the solution? It is that to get out of this negative energy, here there is a refuge Lord Chaitanya gave. What is that refuge? Association of devotees. So when we have close loving people, then we are not afraid if somebody is insulting us, because we can take refuge of them. People will understand us, and then when we confess, then they will accept what we are. In that way we will be able to survive. First is we don't offend, and when we get offended we are also protected. So this is also paribhavitagni. And uh, in, insult is actually killing. Like sometimes you need not kill any person, just put something on the post, is almost dead, or somebody commits suicide and die also, because this is how this world is. Now Lord Chaitanya, he gave the society of devotees. This is one thing. And Parivitagnis also protect us from offenses. Now who can be offended? Who is proud? This also we discussed today. So humble person, nobody can offend him. He feels, oh, he's telling me I am so and so sense gratifier. Actually, you don't know exactly. I am 10 times more than what he's thinking about me. I am worse than what he's thinking about me. So humble person feels, really, if you know about me, he will not even give that much value what he's giving to me. So this is what we see. We heard who discussed this also, the pastime of Srivas Thakur. When all this puja paraphernalia of Kali worship was kept in front of his house, he called all the people. See, actually, see, I'm so dangerous. I am such a hypocrite. And all the people understood. No, 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 he is not. And then they called some lower caste people and told him clean all of these things. Now, this is the formula what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. What is the formula for this? Not to get offended. Trinadapi sunichena, taroriva saishna, amanina manadina, kirtinya sada. You'll never get offended. Follow this verse. That's what Lord Chaitanya is telling. I'm going a little fast. I want to cover one more verse. We'll see how much it is possible. Now, one can love God, fix one's thoughts on God, and enter into a state of dheyam sada, where one constantly meditate on the Supreme Personality of God only when becomes humble and patient. This is what Lord Chaitanya. Now, uh, when these things happen, when we are in this mood, and any insults or anything is happening, then what happens? We feel, oh, how good this person is helping me free from my conditionings, by helping me free from my anantas. Now, one more. So further, Lord Chaitanya is teaching us how we can purify our heart from this offending tendency. Also, he is explaining further. We can understand further. Now, especially Lord Chaitanya's Leela. So, at least one Leela I'll tell. Just all philosophy. Now, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came especially, he comes to Vrindavan Yatra, he goes, but he does not go directly to Vrindavan, he goes to Bengal. Now, why did Lord Chaitanya go to Bengal? Especially to forgive all the people who offended him. This is a very important. Now, uh, people does not want to stay a place where he is insulted. He want to live. Same thing we hear from Bhagavatam. Now it will come in few shlokas. So Vidura, he left Hastinapur. In third canto also it comes. Why he leaves? Because he was insulted. Now Lord Chaitanya also left. because at the time the whole atmosphere of Navadip became very defied. People who are envious of Lord Chaitanya, envious of devotees, they became very active. They started spreading false rumors. They started complaining to Chand Kazi. They were also trying to complain to Nawab Hussain Shah so that they can come and restore proper dharma and punish these Vaishnavas who are chanting the holy name publicly and which is not according to what they felt is right. And now some of them they started telling, oh, all these Vaishnavas they are just pretenders. They are so hungry and howling in night, doing all these kirtans. Same thing happens when Prabhupada also was coming and spreading. Who started finding faults in Prabhupada? Not outsiders, own God brothers also. They said, oh, he's spoiling Vedic culture. He's giving Brahman initiation to women. He's making brahmacharini ashrams and all these things. Now, uh, there is one, Prabhupada said this statement. Jesus Christ says, oh, for which good deeds you want to execute, execute me? So, like that. Now, Lord Chaitanya left Navadip, but why did he leave? Not to show how he got offended, not to slam the door and say, okay, nothing to do with you. No, he want to emphasize that he does not want to have anything in common. It's not that he don't want. He left so that people could appreciate him. That is the point. That is the reason he takes sannyas. He leaves now so that people will appreciate. And then they understand. And not only that, then they'll start ending their insults. Now, same thing. The people would come to their senses and come to a right attitude. That's what Lord Chaitanya's purpose. And the same thing, people in Sri Vaishnavas, they comment on Rama and they say, why did Lord Ram send Sita to forest? Of course, you don't ask questions. I'll give only one reason. There are many other reasons also. But one reason what Sri Vaishnava Acharya said, that people would come to their senses so that people would realize and think what they have done by insulting her. Now, very often this happens when uh, we are with some people, then we may neglect them. But when we lose the person, we'll start understanding, oh, what is the importance of this? So what I have done, how did I lose this person? Especially when I go to people when they're near and dear, once they left their body, I go to their houses. Then this is what meditation I tell them to do. Okay, you just thank them what they have done, or ask forgiveness and appreciate what they have done. So they all feel actually we should have done before. Now the person is not there. We are lamenting now. What we lost, we are understanding now. So anyway, now this is important. Now he left, and but Lord Chaitanya left, but he did not. What he did, he sent Nityananda Prabhu, and then Nityananda Prabhu came along with his all drunken gopas. All Nityananda Prabhu's associates are friends of Krishna and Vrindavan, and they started going to every village and preaching the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Every house they were going and telling, just see who is Lord Chaitanya. And then people came to their senses. Then people began to understand. They began to tear their hair and say, oh, what did we lose? He's the Supreme Lord who was there with us. He was staying next to us. He was our neighbor and we lost him. Can you imagine how much painful it must be for the people of Navadip after understanding he's the Supreme Lord and we lost him, who was staying with us and we insulted him. And they began to lament like anything. And when then Lord Nityanand Prabhu preached the glories for few years, and when Lord Chaitanya came to Navadip while going to Vrindavan, he didn't go, he goes to Ramkeli. It made a huge outpour. Whole of Bengal, they all came to ask forgiveness. And no, that's why we hear so many people are coming, thousands and thousands. But then when Lord Chaitanya was there, they didn't come like that. But when he took sannyas and came back, why it happened? That is the power of Nityanand Prabhu. That is his preaching power. That's what happens. When Nityanand Prabhu comes and preaches, or his associates like Prabhupada comes and preach, their what is it? Nityananda Avesh, like Prabhupada. When they preach, this is what happens to the world. Everybody they change. Oh, this is what we need. So then everybody comes to ask forgiveness. That and they came to So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach how we should get rid of these offensive tendencies, these terrible destructive tendencies that destroy our valuable things, the spirit of admiration and the happy, joyful spirit of delight in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is all destroyed. So Paribhavita Agni means Lord Chaitanya is coming. So when Lord Chaitanya goes to Vidyavachaspati's house, and this is a brother of Sarabhattacharya, and then all the people come and says, yes, yes, they loudly chant that the Lord and Lord appears, and then they say, okay, please help us, please. It is said the three worlds were shaking with the sound vibration. Now everyone, now I will come and ask for forgiveness and I'll ask blessing for my son. Everybody goes there, but Lord disappears. Then he goes to Kulyagram, where everybody goes and individual asks forgiveness from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they say what all offenses they did. Now this is a solution, very important solution for all of us. Now the Lord, he taught that when you offend devotees, we find faults in them. Then what we should do? Then the solution, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with the same mouth, with the same tongue, you must drink the nectar. Immediately start chanting the holy name. And second thing is, we should start appreciating. We should talk about the person. It will be purifying. When you feel how we can feel or have another experience in one heart is if we sincerely try to see the wonderful qualities of a Vaishnava, then we'll be able to get the highest emotions. The best way to get emotions is, if I don't have emotions in heart, then first is chanting, and even in chanting you don't get emotion, you have to praise Vaishnavas. Let's appreciate Vaishnavas, heart is purified. We start getting tears also in eyes. That is, if you want to get tears very fast in ecstasy, start glorifying Vaishnavas. This is the secret Lord Chaitanya is giving all of us. And it is true also. You can try, we'll do it. This is the way to purify and get the highest spiritual experience. This is a miracle. And then we discuss Abhishta Davamis, where innermost desire is fulfilled. Now, second, Tirthaspadam Shiva Virinchinotam Sharanyam. This part we'll discuss. Tirthaspadam means in the incarnation that comes in the age of Kali, all Tirthas take shelter of his lotus feet. So wherever Lord Chaitanya goes, that place becomes Tirtha. Lord Chaitanya goes to South India so that he can leave the traces of his lotus feet all over India. So that they all become holy places and people start chanting the holy name. And many in South India, many people chant. They know Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They don't know Lord Chaitanya. But you go to South, many villages, they have kirtans and all. They chant Hare Krishna. They don't know how this mantra came. In Madhya Sampradaya also, they say as soon as you wake up, you should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They don't know why. And like that, in many, even Adikeshwar temple, there are many places this Mahamantra is displayed, but they don't know how it came. So Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Tirthas Padam means all the Tirthas take shelter of lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That all the Tirthas are there in Navadvip. And this is what is important. If you don't have faith, then we are Pashandi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, no, we should have faith. Because acharyas are telling it is easy for us to accept because they are so intelligent. Materially also they are intelligent. If you see Bhaktivinoda Thakur, materially is very, very intelligent. And Prabhupada and his god brothers, they are so materially intelligent. And then spiritually also they are intelligent. So it is very easy for us. In both ways we cannot match them. So they know everything right and they are not cheating. Easy to accept. They said no, if you don't accept Vashandi. So all the holy places. So Pashandi, this word comes from Pashu. Pashu means animal consciousness. When a person completely identifies himself with body and mind, and when he becomes an animal and is in animal instinct takeover, he is called Pashandi. That's all. Now, when we hear about Chaitanya, if you don't have faith, it is a Pashandi. Now, Tirthas Padam. So all the Tirthas are there in Navadvip. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote Navadvip Mahatmya and he explains how, which are holy places are which place in Navadvip. This is very important. And when we chant the holy name, we get purified like. Yeah, Sarvamai Mataji is telling that even opposite Padmanabh temple, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is chanted constantly without break. Yes. Yeah, it is in Trivandrum. Yeah. They chant Mahamantra. They don't know where it came. Lord Chaitanya's impressions there. And Tirtha's presence Shivarinchi. So Brahma he, and Shiva, they also take shelter. Uh, Shiva Virinchi. Shiva is Lord Shiva, Virinchi is Brahma. Shiva is in form of Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya want to be servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not allow Advaitacharya to touch his feet, and Lord Chaitanya is to touch his feet. So Advaitacharya, he he started preaching Mayavad so that he'll get opportunity to become servant of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya comes and preaches him like that pastime is there. And Virinchi is Brahma. Brahma, he offends Krishna in one way in Brahma Mohan Lila. And Haridas Thakur, he understand, no. Only way I can do it is I can receive his forgiveness is when I come as a Muslim or beggar or something, and then he starts chanting the holy name. So when Haridas Thakur leave this world, how? By Sharanyam, fully taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya. He keeps his lotus feet on his chest, and Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna, he leaves the body in that way. So, and then Bhrityartham. Bhrityartham means who destroys, eliminates. Arthi means suffering. Arthi, Artho Artharthi, no? Arthi. So, he removes the sufferings of his devotees. So this we see the pastime of Mahaprakash Lila. There are two understandings of it. One I'll tell. First is destroying the sufferings in the Mahaprakash Lila. If devotees are sincerely chanting and asking, "My dear Lord, I want to free from this. Lord will help." And and Lord coming. The we have story of Gangadas Pandit where he is chased by some invaders. So he goes to the bank of Ganges, and Lord Chaitanya comes as a boatman and rescues him. That's what he one who destroys sufferings of his devotees. And if meditate on this, Lord Chaitanya, how Lord Chaitanya refuses to meet Chota Harda. So this is another important understanding of Bhrityatiham. What is the suffering Lord Chaitanya is making us free from? One is, we may say all other incarnations also help the devotees to free. But this is one more important thing. Now, when Lord Chaitanya refused to meet Chota Haridas, his servant. Now, how Lord Chaitanya, for a small offense, at first, it looks very unfair. How he rejected. Does this qualify Bhrityarthiham? No. How did he remove the suffering of Chota Haridas? He refused to see him, but at the same time, inside, he prayed for him all the time. Also, of course, Lord is only blessing. But every night, Chota Haridas Thakur, he allowed him to sing for him every day. Now, what is the true suffering? What is really suffering? The person truly suffers who uh, who loves is separation. When he's separated, there is suffering, and there is no love, that is suffering. So, where does the suffering come? The suffering is separation. There is no other suffering. This is the main suffering. We are all separated from Krishna. We are all having this separations of love. So Lord Chaitanya helps us to remove this suffering of separation. So Sachi Mata, she was also feeling the pains of separation. Lord Chaitanya every day used to go to Sachi Mata to eat whenever she used to cook. And same thing Vishnu Priya. They say, oh Vishnu Priya, oh Lord Chaitanya, so hard-hearted for Vishnu Priya. But Lord Chaitanya was always with Vishnu Priya in Dameshwar Mahadev form. And she used to chant every day. Every round she used to take one grain aside. Whatever grain how many rounds she completed, that many grains she used to cook and eat that much. So that is, she was having with her always Dameshwar Mahadev. This is the hand, wooden statue with hands, in this form. So she used to always feel. And this is what Bhrityarthi. So the separation, pains of separation, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Pranatipala means when a person surrenders to him, even if person has committed some sin, he is protected. So Pranatipala means there are so many stories about how people who left Krishna consciousness, and but when they remembered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the end, then then they go, then they see Prabhupada and they say, oh, Prabhupada came and they left. I think, this person, he left Krishna consciousness long back, but suddenly he started and then everything happened for him. So this is a good news that even if a person lives and remembers Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya says, no problem. So last moment, if he remembers Lord Chaitanya, he will be protected. So this is we see the story of Gopinath Patnaik, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is protecting Gopinath Patnaik. The main point of this, I'll not go in detail of this story, but the main point is, and when Kashi Mishra comes and Lord Chaitanya says, why are you involving in all these things, affairs and all this? I don't want to do much. And then the Kashi Mishra says, no, Gopinathacharya himself had nothing to do with it. He did not ask anybody to tell you or protect you. He did not even cross his mind to ask you something material. He just stood and chanted Hare Krishna when he was arrested and he was raised to Changa to be killed. In prison, he chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and whenever he chanted 1,000 names, he used to make a mark on his body that he chanted 1,000 names. And then he chanted another 1,000 names, he made a mark. And that's what he did. He just chanted and remembered you. That's all. He did not ask anything material. Other devotees, they went around and so you know the story indeed. I'll not go. Then Lord Chaitanya becomes very happy. He says, yes, this is what is to be done. So Lord Chaitanya protects. And then the next point of this shloka is Bhavabdi Potam. Abdi means ocean. And Potam means boat. So he helps us to cross, he takes us to other side of the ocean of material existence. Bhavabdi Potam is the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya is a ship by stepping on which we can easily find ourselves on the other side of the ocean of material existence. And this is happening for everyone. And how many people. And then the last point is Vande Mahapurushate. Why is called Mahapurusha? Is great Prabhu, Mahapurusha. Because he is enjoying Mahabhav, the highest degree of love. Maha is that taste, that exalt emotional state in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is what we have discussed, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is protecting us. So what is Paribhava? Destructive tendencies, and he's saving us from them. How Lord Chaitanya protects us from the external, internal destructive tendencies. How he is helping us to get rid of offensive tendency to offend. And we saw how Lord Chaitanya went to Navadip and how he is helping all the people to come out of the tendencies. And it is not possible to offend a humble person. And then the only way for us to is to glorify Vaishnavas, to experience that emotion. And later sweet of Lord Chaitanya was the shelter. And how Lord Chaitanya came to save his devotees, and how his Mahapurusha experienced the greatest ecstasy. So this is what is one shloka, but I'll just read. We'll complete our syllabus also. Any questions on this still? Okay. So we will just complete at least 2-3 purports before 10 minutes and we'll go. So now no other shloka matches for any other incarnations other than this shloka which we discussed just now. So this is very important, and that's why these 3 shlokas are in line. I'll just conclude with one point from this, that so Deyam Sada Paribhavitagni Abhishta Doham Tirthaspadam Shivirinchinotam Sharanyam Pratyartham Pranatipalam Bhava. Botam Vande Mahapurushite Charanarvind. So this before this shloka, where Karavajan Muni is telling Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangas Parshan Yajna Sankirtana Prajan. So Krishna Varnam, he is always speaking, hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna's pastimes, qualities and name. So Krishna, Tusha Krishnam, Krishna Varnam means is Krishna only, but Tusha Krishnam, his complexion is golden. And Sango Panga, so he comes along with his associates. Yajna Sankirtanam, he spreads the Yajna of this age. Sumedasa, intelligent people will accept it. So this is the shloka which is telling about, we say this is about Lord Chaitanya. And even next shloka, it is also this Lord who is helping us to meditate on him. There is no other Lord who is doing this type of pastime. And then the third shloka which is connected to this also is very important. Tektva sudhishchita surepsis Rajalakshmi dharmeshta arya vachasa yadagadharanyam Maya Mragam Daitamipstanvadavat Vande Mahapurushite Charanarvind. So this shloka is also telling about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 24 years in the how this is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this verses tells about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna and Rama, three. So these are the Jiva Goswami says it is Krishna, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sridhar Swami says Lord Rama. So we'll go with Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, where he explains the word Maya Mrugam as follows. Maya means one's so-called wife, children, and bank account, which keep one firmly bound up in the material bodily concept of life. The word Mrigam indicates Mrigayati, or to search out. Thus, Maya Mrigam indicates that the conditioned living entity who is always fanatically searching for the latest up to the minute sense gratification in the material bodily conceptions of society, friendship, and love. Anbadavat indicates that Lord Chaitanya was always visibly going here and there, searching after the fallen conditioned soul. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes embrace the conditioned souls on the pretext of religious friendship or ecstasy, but actually the Lord was touching the bodies of the conditioned souls to pull them out of the ocean of material existence and hurl them into the ocean of ecstatic love of God. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the most merciful and munificent incarnation of Lord, whose mercy surpasses the bounds of mundane discrimination in the matter of caste, color, and creed. This shloka is explaining about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these three shlokas, one after another, are indicating about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hence, fruit. Any questions on this? Before any want to share your thoughts? Okay, we will just take this two verses before we wind up for today. Oh, this we'll just summarize what I'll recap what we have discussed. So here Narad Muni is instructing on Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasdev. He said that okay, you have done such a good job, but it is not of any value. You only misguided people. On your name, they will do sense gratification. That's what is happening. So better you write a literature which is exclusively telling about pure devotional service, because you may say that you have written about pure devotional service other literatures, but you have done as a passing remark. But you have so much emphasis karma, jnana, yoga, karma, jnana, jnana. But bhakti is emphasized. So you write one literature only about bhakti, like that. So then he says, oh great, says as soon as I got, so now Narad Muni is trying to tell his own story. He says how he was serving this Bhaktivedantas who came to stay for Chaturmas at his place, and then he was very having good behavior, good qualities, and one time he got opportunity to take the remnants. Then he says, oh great, says as soon as I got a taste for the personality of God, my attachment to hear the Lord was unflinching, and as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I have accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. Ignorance in material existence is compared to darkness, and in all Vedic literatures, the personality of Godhead is compared to the sun. Wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of Lord's pastime is also transcendental in itself. Lord's pastime in itself transcendental association with Lord, and because there is no difference between the Lord and its transcendental pastime. To become associated with the supreme light is to dispel all ignorance. By ignorance only, the condition. Sorry. By ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly think that both he and the Lord are products of material nature. But in fact, the personality of Godhead and the living being are transcendental and they have nothing to do with the material nature. And ignorance is removed and is perfectly realized that there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, the nuisance is removed. Since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross body should be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, as is bringing water, cleaning the temple, or making obeisance, etc. The path of Archana, worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the settled mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about Lord, chanting His name, etc. All such activities are transcendental. None of the gross or settled senses should be otherwise be engaged. Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but simply attraction of love for the personality of God as it was developed in Narad by him. But simply attraction of love for the personality of God as it was developed in Narad by hearing is highly effective. So we'll end here. Uh, uh, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki